Right, so this is going to be an account of um, things I've gone through in the last 4 years, because I suffer from a form of psychosis that's lasted 4 years, which is much longer than the average person with psychosis, I believe, and I'm recently decided to come off my risperidone because I had a really bad brand or something, and it's making me feel very strange. And yeah, and I wanted to. What happened is it made me realize that it seems that the medicine for the last 3 years that I've been taking it um, brought me halfway to the cure. So I was halfway out of psychosis, halfway in psychosis, and coming off the meds has made me realize that maybe if I come off them, the last half of the journey can be obtained, can be reached. Um, and I felt and yesterday I felt the most solid, the most and most non-psychotic, the most real sort of in terms of concrete reality than I have in a long time. I didn't think I'd ever recover actually, which was just remarkable for me. So I thought that perhaps I it's coming to an end, and if I come off them completely and come off everything completely and not drink as I haven't done for the last 11 days at the beginning of the new year, so I'll be recording this on January the 11th, 2021, perhaps I'm saying goodbye to it and I want to dedicate this little video to, especially right now, considering I'm pretty psychotic right now because I did a meditation earlier and and I'm coming off I'm going from 2 milligrams to 1 milligram, and today I'm going from 1 milligram to none. And initially, what happens is the first couple of days, I feel very irritable, very, very crazy, as I'll explain. and then, and then after that, I think I'll clear up a bit. So I want to sort of talk about how I experienced psychosis, or how I have experienced psychosis the last 4 years, and I'm going to try and do this as linearly as possible, but it might not be very good because I'm just I'm so all over the place. So the first thing I want to sort of talk about during this particular, what I'm calling this psychotic break, is the room and my visual phenomena. So my visual phenomena, everything going to be very colourful, and everything feels like I'm a floating pair of eyes. It's like a floating pair of eyes, and things, I don't have a grasp of what's behind me. It's yes, like yesterday, for example, I had this sort of, I had a, it was like I could see behind me. Whereas today, it's as if things come into my vision and just disappear, and then they just disappear completely. And as a result, I feel like my eyes are sort of creating everything that it sees. It's like the room becomes, I don't know. It's like I'm looking inside my mind or whatever. And oftentimes I'll try and realize that it's real, or I'm looking at it, and I'll just feel completely nauseous immediately. And also in terms of that, I feel like I recognize everyone I see on the street. Everyone looks like a familiar face. One time I was in a hospital in Finland, and every nurse looked exactly the same, and that was a really bad time. Right now, my face looks really kind of scary as I'm watching myself film. like I'm some bug that's coming to invade my own senses. And it reaches a point where it's going to come out and get me, but it doesn't quite do that. But yeah, when I talk, no, I'll stick to the visuals for now. Yeah, it's like everyone. It's like everyone I recognize, everyone I see in the street, I recognize, and I just want to strike conversation with everyone. And this has been very kind of apparent in how I socialize. I'm very good at talking to people immediately, and this is a common thing for someone else that I saw in a BBC video about psychosis, where they would just want to walk up to people in the street and say, "Hey, how are you? Isn't it amazing? The sun's rising. It's the start of everyone's day." It's like I'm taking part in this incredibly crazy cyclical process of the world, and the world is constantly becoming itself, and I not only am a participant in that, but I am very, to a very certain extent, a very powerful character in that world. I can go out and I can make things whatever I want. Not like delusion wise, in the sense that I can sort of believe anything I want, but like I can really go out and craft and manifest everything, and I can make people like me really quickly, and you know, that can obviously have a very big detriment when I'm talking when it comes to pure OCD, and the fear of manipulating people. People are very interesting. When I see someone, it is not that I, like yesterday, I just see them and be like, oh, that's just a stranger, I block them out. When I see them, it's almost like I'm seeing into their entire life story, and I see their innermost soul, and just by seeing them or smiling at them, I form this completely strong bound connection to them, like we're sharing souls. And obviously I can turn, it's almost like we're sort of seeping into each other, and when I establish friendships, even for a very short amount of time, regardless of how good the friendship is, I feel like we are more than brothers, more than siblings, more than father and son, depending on what the dynamic of choice, the dynamic that would be chosen would be. And yeah, and obviously I can go very awry when they turn out, when I'm fearful of them being like a manipulator or like a demon. It's like they're either like we're like so joined together, but they might be out to get me, and they might be out to erode my soul. So sometimes when I sort of think of them as like a manipulative person, or like someone who's like a sinner or something like that, someone who's like, it's almost like they know everything about me, and they're going to it's all an experiment to see how long I obey. It's like a very strange thing, and I see it sort of switches between the two of them sometimes when I'm talking to someone. I see the demon in them for a second. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense. Like when they're in the real world, they're just people, and I just sort of see them as people. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm feeling incredibly nauseous. Excuse me, and it's this sort of, in terms of my bodily experience, I feel like as soon as I focus on a piece of my body, it becomes like really apparent and really, really active. And it just becomes like, it's just leg, like if I focus on my leg, it just amplifies to the point where like it's almost impossible to bear. And as well as that feeling like I'm slowly floating, like my body is like slowly rising up from beyond itself, and it's really hard to ground yourself and keep yourself like maintained. Occasionally I hear voices, very, very, very rarely I hear voices. If I am around weed a bit, cannabis, it's I hear voices. They're not threatening. They're just it's like I'm listening to like a radio in between two different stations, and I'm just like, oh, she was walking, it's and like nothing threatening, but and sometimes I try and listen into what they're saying, but this is a very rare thing. I don't often get this, but it's a very rare thing. Yeah, I already said that. But but like I just can't make it out. It just sounds like nonsense. Everything blurs together. Everything forms one experience, and that experience has an underlying ambient glow of wonder and beauty and brilliance, and it is just phenomenal. Like I can sort of just tap into this like beautiful, blinding reality of the world. And I don't think that's like an untrue statement. I think that's something to be learned from there. But but in terms of the blurring, oh man, it's like, if I'm talking to Google Home, for example, and then I'm talking to a friend on the computer, and they're both computers, they're both white devices, and I'm talking to both of them, they both respond to me, like I'll talk to a friend and I'll be like, okay, you're a female I'm talking to with a white device, she's a female, you Google Home. Other things, yeah, like everything blurs together, but the things you wouldn't expect, like like when I look at a biscuit, it's like I can almost choke on it. Like I'm like, oh, uh, it's like I can't seem to separate the experience of looking at a biscuit and the experience of eating a biscuit and the experience of swallowing a biscuit. I would separate them together. I'm trying to think of other examples. Um, that main one about the Google Home. I mean, trying to think of other ones. Um, it all blurs together, and it's all visual phenomena. So none of it matters. There's that underlying ambience of beauty, but if I'm at the beach with a few friends, I'm listening to good music, or whether I'm just sitting in the rain on a patio on my own, it is all just colors and shapes arranged to look like items that I know how to interact with instinctually. But oh, it's that bloody leaving my body. It can be a bit too much sometimes. But it doesn't matter what the experience, whether I'm in a gutter or whether I'm in something. It's just visual phenomena, and it's not like I'm anywhere. I'm just experiencing different visual phenomena and different like voices. Like my own voice when I hear it. It can be incredibly difficult to remember like what I just said when I'm speaking. I have no idea what I just said. It's not like I'm keeping a log of it. Though when I'm very accountable to see long-term processes, and I could be projecting them, but I'm not. For example, if I notice someone's being a little bit more truthful or a little bit more agreeable, it's like I can see the conceptual, I can see the incline over time. Like I can see like the graph, and it's like the time in which the person was becoming more agreeable or more truthful, like more agreeable, whatever. I can like see it. I can see it like going down. It's like I can see all that. It's like I can see all that happening. Like the process. It's like you notice these processes more. But yeah, even when I'm not speaking, like I'll find myself, I'll want to make a cup of tea, and then there's like a little blur, and then suddenly I'm making a cup of tea, and it's so intensely visual, but none of it sticks. So I'll have memories of like really vivid images of people talking to me, but I won't have any memories of what I felt like, or like not even what I felt like, but like maybe in that sense, but also just like the way exactly how I heard them or something, but I won't remember. Like it is very strange. Like I'll have like these very intense, particular memories of things, but I won't remember what happened that day afterwards. It will just be the one picture. It's really good. I can actually like document the psychosis and not just like ordinary experience, because I can tell the difference because of how real I felt yesterday. So this is the perfect time to do it. To be meta. Yeah, I mean, even again, I'm talking to myself right now, and I normally talk to myself. I'm normally talking to someone when I'm doing video, so these experiences blur together. So it's like I'm talking to someone right now, but the only person I'm talking to is me. So it's like I'm going to expect myself to respond. I'm trying to think like there's other ways of blurring together. I remember. I was thinking about watching the Super Bowl in 2018 when I lived in Finland, and like a bunch of people were all into like American football or whatever, and I was thinking about like are the Eagles going to win this year? It was just like a question, and I was carrying something like sort of precariously, and I was trying to turn the lights on, and in turning the lights on, my thought was not necessarily am I going to turn the light on without dropping the thing, but that experience was tied with the risk of, are the Eagles going to win? So that I immediately had this kind of thing, oh, are the Eagles going to win which in my mind was equivalent to, can I turn the lights on without dropping my thing? It's this, because in my mind it was like the risk, the unknown, and they all blurred together. That's another example. It's funny. What else is that? I mean, I'm intensely like. Yesterday I was trying to learn something I was trying to play something on the guitar, and I couldn't see the patterns. I could just see like an object, and the object was just, there was nothing written on it, so I couldn't like I couldn't like create the music as much because there was nothing telling me what to do with the patterns that were sort of in my head before, because everything's so connected when I have psychosis. The music just comes. I can sort of imagine these patterns of the song going up and down, and then that being like this repeating 4 times or 3 times, and then the chorus happens, and then it happens. There's like a typical 4-chord thing here, but then I can fragment it a bit here, and then it happens, and then I can almost hear the song before I'm composing it, and I only began to confidently write once I had psychosis, which was 4 years ago. I wrote a couple of folk tracks after I did acid, and I slowly descended into psychosis, which was November the 1st, 2016. That was the day that changed my life. Yeah. Personality-wise, I am completely indifferent in psychosis to good or bad experiences. The only thing I care about is it being in touch with the beautiful, blinding brilliance of the ambience of the world. And as long as I'm in contact with that, I am still. I am peaceful in some sense. Still manic and anxious, but there's an underlying sort of like, well, this is the state before I was born. This is the state after I die. This is how it sort of is symbolized to me, and that's what gives me, even when I'm like, out drinking or whatever, it's like, as long as I have that kind of just that glow of like, oh wow, these people are talking and all this life is happening, and wow, that's what really matters to me when I have psychosis. When I'm not, when I'm not like that, as normal people are, and I didn't even realize this until the other day. Good things make them happy, and sad things make them, bad things make them sad. And I looked at all of that as if it was like a sort of process, and I was like, why wouldn't you want to escape that and live in the beautiful ambience of the world? Of course, like, to be, I think it's good to be. I think it's good to be aware of both, and just sort of let yourself be happy and sad at the right moments, but sort of know of this underlying ambience of the world. Yeah, but personality-wise, with everything, I feel intensely like I have to. I'm like a Christ figure or something. Like I've been touched or something. I've been touched by God or something, and it's my job to herd people because I hear their problems, and instead of just thinking, oh, that sucks, I think that's an illusion. I thought my lip was coming off with skin. These are all like, other things that happen, but I'll get to that in just a second. I feel like it's my job to help them, and I feel and I'll listen to them, and I'll hear them lose their temper, and they'll lose their temper in my place, and they'll be going upset, and I feel like I'm just like their therapist. I feel like not even I have to, but like it's my duty to my sole duty, no one else's duty, my duty to help them and to cure them, which can be very misplaced at times. And of course, people appreciate that sort of thing, but it's I mean, it is what it is. That's just how the condition goes, because it's all visual phenomena, and I know in my head, I know in reality that I am in the real world, although sometimes I think I'm in a dream, and that's the scary thing. Sometimes I'm like, is this real? Am I just in a dream? Which is very common with people with dissociation, which is like, which I think is like the square root of psychosis. If you were to like see again, like that's the patterns thing. I sort of see it in terms of like, I see it almost as like mathematical equations, like which helps me sort of with philosophy. It can help me because I sort of see like capitalism, communism, microsociology, and then maybe other dimensions can go across. And this can all be a dimension, and then you can sort of make a turn, and other dimensions can relate to each other in different ways. So like existentialism and capitalism, you sort of see Sartre link communism with existentialism because of these reasons. Then you open that line up, and then there are these reasons as to why. And these conceptual maps don't come to me often through. They come to me. They don't even come from me through like just sort of deduction. They come to me through like imagination and intuition. It almost happens automatically. which can be very nice to sort of when I'm sort of speaking. Like yesterday, I just couldn't I couldn't grasp what I was talking about. It was like, well, that's my fucking opinion. How am I supposed to reference that? You know, like my opinion is that people should be more anarchic to language, which is, I don't know, which is what the book. And I was like, well, maybe. Like at the time, I was like, maybe. And then if I'm like in this state, I think that like there's the battleground of ideas, and the ideas are playing out with each other and sort of generating their own conceptual maps, and it's the job of their maps to negate each other, to negate and not even through like empirical argument, but just through basis. And I want to hold on to that actually, and I think I have, because a few days ago when I was feeling like relatively real, I could actually maintain that sort of conceptualization or hyper conceptualization. But yeah, there's a real thing about like helping people and sort of like people in my projects to work on, and I think that ties into delusions of grandeur, because I haven't got severe psychosis. It's just it's not like I have this delusion, I have this hallucination. It's more of like I just saw like a mist of dust there, just to clarify. I'll get into illusions in a second. It just blurs everything together, and there are way more connections in my brain than there should be. Illusion, I see things wrong all the time. You know, illusion is halfway between hallucination and delusion. The delusions, you know, like delusions of grandeur, I'll get to after this. You know, like I'm conceptualizing everything. You know, I'm sort of turning it into boxes. So I've got illusion now, and then I'm going to go to delusions of grandeur, or maybe I should, and that's very interesting. You know, I'll see things wrong all the time. Like right now, my face reminds me of how I saw people's faces when I was coming down off MDMA back in 2016 before I got psychosis, and this is part of what stuck with me. It's like maybe some sort of coping mechanism to deal with the nightmare. It's like people's face. You know, like if I look over there, like the whites of the eyes are so scary. It's like I'm a skeleton or a zombie or something. But when I examine my face really carefully, I think, well, that's the normal color, that's the normal eye. But like you can't see things like that. You can't be like, this is how things normally look. You know, and it makes me think. You know, when you talk about like interpretations of reality, you're sort of with psychosis, it's more of like an awareness that you can choose which one you want, and you can, you know, for example, if you play a game when you're younger and you never see that game for 15 years, you think that game's like so much intricate complexities and stuff, you know, it's such a high quality game, and you go back to it 10 years later and it's like, it looks like shit, right? And that's like one you know, and it's all based on your previous interpretations and how you interpret it. Psychosis is that recognition. It's the recognition that that everything can be interpreted completely. It can be interpreted in such different ways. When I'm normal, I'm like, this is the way things are. I'm a realist, you know, and obviously still like succumbing to, and there's like one particular interpretation. Psychosis is like, you know, every door's open, man. Every door's open. You can fucking choose. Delusions of grandeur. We sort of touched on it a little bit. Yeah, that's a very, you know, I don't sort of speak about it enough, but like, you know, just this idea, like, you know, the ego, you know, like I love hearing when I have psychosis, I love hearing people compliment me, and I want as much of it as possible, and I want to pretend that I don't want it. So I also get the token of being humble, right? And that's, you know, and that's like that's something that I really want to work on, you know, and that's something I'm not very proud of at all. You know, like that, but like I do generally, like, you know, like I want to feel like I have some sort of God-given purpose, and the purpose is to I don't know what the purpose is, but like, you know, the purpose is to create something, like, I don't know what it is exactly. I'm anxious. Yeah. It's very interesting. I mean, like, when I'm on the antipsychotics, um, it blunts me so much that I do want a beer. Like, and sorry, I've lost my flow here. It happens sometimes. I overthink something that I've said, and then I worry if I've overshared. And I mean, that's nonsense because that's the whole point of this video. But it's easy to switch. Like the pure OCD can like just really like play with you. The psychosis plus the antipsychotics like really sort of amplify like dark thoughts and associating with those dark thoughts and blurring everything together. You see, like this, everything blurs together. Everything becomes the same experience with that ambience behind it. No, no. I think I've been like I think I've been pretty reasonable in how I've been speaking at the moment. But like, there's a sort of thing where with delusions of grandeur and that sort of that love of being complimented and that sort of all of that sort of thing. There's a definite fear of making mistakes. Like there's like it's like there's one right thing to do and every other opinion is wrong. Every other decision to make is wrong. And I have to find that right choice. And if I don't find that right choice, I'm on the wrong path. And that can be very scary. As opposed to like the idea of making mistakes just becomes like some very 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 strange scary thing. What else is there? when I talk, I mean it just it's this very strange kind of. I identify so much with the world that I want to be spoken of in the way that I think of the world. Yeah. Sorry, this can be kind of difficult. This can be kind of like hard to concentrate after so long of like especially when you're in a psychotic break. But there's this interesting silence that comes with things. That's something I've learned about. The world, and the world is in a manner of speaking silent. And silent and ambient, and there's something that comes with that, I think. Yeah, it used to be really bad. It used to be like unmanageable, the psychosis. I once filmed myself about 3 years ago, and I was just like crying and laughing and crying and like all of these unbelievably ridiculous things. Yeah. It's like I'm waiting for something to tell me what to say, but then no one's telling me. It just comes out. It's like one thing is that everything sort of seems to be this sort of very organic machine, the machine that populates people, and it's like the people aren't just like there as units; they're processes, and the people watching the line, the sort of curve of people grow up and then grow down and then decease and then die. And I can see it's like I can see all these processes happening at the same time. And I want to find a couple more things to say, before I quit, because this could be like one of my last chances, because when like the other day when I was feeling real, the idea of being complimented was like, well, I don't fucking care what my reputation is. I just want to be happy. It was nothing to do with like being this kind of this sort of creation of the world that knows what the world is and knows that it is the world to guide people into the world's blessing or whatever. And that's very interesting. And that these are sort of what I've covered delusions, hallucinations. I get like dots. I get like dots sometimes, like like these, like something I have this sort of. It's like there's like a hole. It's like all of this is like a VR, and then I see like a hole appear, like a white dot here, and it's something. It appears randomly. I've never seen a pattern as to what happens. It's just like I'll be chatting to someone, won't be thinking about it, and suddenly this white dot will appear. It's not a floater. It's not a floater. I have floaters, and when I was first getting psychosis, it was like all I could think about was just the float. It was this floater that just moved around, and it was all I could focus on. Yeah, it's hard to maintain yourself when you are like this. When you're floating, and everything's like a bit like a shroom trip or an acid trip, except it just goes on forever, and you haven't got that dopamine to like keep you. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. When I have really bad psychotic breaks, like really bad, like everything blurs and everything, and I'm sweating as fuck and I'm throwing up because it's just like I'm like trying to escape my body. Words look like faces. Like words become emojis, becoming faces, and I try and think symbolically, and I think like in the traditional sense, we would only hear words when we were looking at faces, and now we write things down. I can see the person speaking in all of their bug-like form because the words are like, bugs, like almost bug eyes. And if you have A, C, they're like big eyes. And the words come out almost like trying to invade, like sort of like tadpoles trying to invade my vision, It's like, because the words aren't stopping being spoken. They're constantly being spoken, all of them, constantly. Because it's not linear. It's all there at once. So you're just constantly there, trying to, speaking to me. And then when I'm, sometimes I get like, crazy, if I don't sleep enough, I get crazy visions of like my family members crying. Like they'll be crying, and I'll be seeing them and hearing them, and in my mind's eye. And I'm not directing this. Like I'm not directing it at all. It's doing it on its own, It like, that can be very, and I do think about it symbolically, And I should tell you maybe my dreams. My dreams are. It's hard to know how long I haven't spoken for. My dreams are just. They're like projects, like whole of 2020 last year when I was just dedicated to everything was a chore. Everything was just like let's do this. There's no point in doing it. Let's do it anyway. There's no point in doing this. I mean, I'll be staring at dirty clothes and then I'll be staring at clean clothes. There's no fucking difference. There's no difference in the world. There's no difference in reality. Okay, I forgot what I was saying. My dreams. Thank you. They're like I learned things in my dreams. Like I had a dream that like a very aggravated, insecure Nietzsche was teaching at a course at my dad's, at my dad's house, and sometimes and my dreams can become so ongoing and vivid. I can talk about them for 20 minutes, like 20 minutes of like content in a single night, and often like it's like it's trying to answer questions that like I've asked. Or I can look at it symbolically and be like, oh, this is why I'm experiencing this. This is why I'm experiencing this. It's like not only for myself, like I can sort of reference myself psychologically. It's like I can reference everyone else psychologically as well. I'm not sure whether I'm projecting that or not. I'm not sure whether I'm attuned to some sort of different perception, or I'm projecting that, and that can be very dangerous because I don't want to project onto people ideas because they might become them, And that's again like another psychosis-y thing, the idea that I can sort of change people just by existing with them. And people will start to mold in accordance to my company with them and other people's company with them. Like everyone's sharing each other with them, But I don't want to project. That can be a very dangerous thing. My dress sense is very eccentric. When I'm not psychotic, I want to dress as normally as possible, but I want to dress as like a crazy person. It's almost like I want to push that to the extreme because I see it as like a sort of, well, why would you want to restrict yourself to here when you can go here? There's no account for like how other people will see me. There's no account for insecurity. It's not insecurity. I feel it's not the same thing. It's a fear that the God in everyone is damning me and judging me. It's not like embarrassment. It's not the same thing because I feel embarrassed sometimes when I'm like, oh, sorry, should have got out of your way. No, it's like a you are either you are here or you are in hell and you are being punished. I'm trying to keep it as psychosis topic as possible and not pure OCD because they're not, I'm not sure that they're the same thing, but they are connected, at least to me. Um, yeah, yeah. There's no insecurity. There's no fear. There's no fear of social rejection because it's just movement, And if I can like, if I get a response that I'm doing something like impressive by being so eccentric, then I feel like I'm doing something good because I'm breaking out of the mold that everyone else is in. And it's like everyone else is like in this self-contained unit, and I'm the sort of jack in the box that sort of jumps out, and it's hard to overshare. It's just hard to talk. It's hard to talk about these things. Such a long period of time. Obviously, like these things I'm talking about aren't uh, aren't like you know what I mean. It's like these things are like they constitute part of what my process is now, but not necessarily like what the process has to be to the end, I suppose. And yeah, I'll do a couple more points and I'll wrap it up. I think so. I've been going for 40 minutes. I want to say everything. I want to say everything, but it's just you never will you? Every day's different. I'm very blessed to have the people in my life that I do, regardless of like how connected my soul is to them. And when I come out of this, if coming off the medication finally gives me that final step to come out of psychosis, then absolutely, yeah. Like just having that platonic friend that is neither an angel nor a devil, is just a person who isn't in love with you or wants to be part of your essence, nor wants to repel themselves from you. It's just nice to have those people in my life to help, and it's a long ride, but it's very worth it. And as long as I get to have new experiences that are varied, and as long as I get to retain some, as long as I get to receive that sort of happiness sometimes, where I sort of really am situated in the world, and I'm appreciating the contents of life and learning lessons and being happy and help, and hopefully helping others, but not obsessively helping other people, as if they were my final task, and if I don't fix them, then I'm going to hell. It's like this. Yeah, if I can balance these things well, and if hopefully maybe when I come out of the whole thing, if I can like still find a return to psychosis because of how much it's taught me, then that'd be pretty good to like be able to return to what we like to call reality, or like ordinary life. Better way of saying it. Reality is a very complicated thing and very unattainable, very 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 almost inaccessible thing in some senses, but very profound and very real. But ordinary life. If I can return to ordinary life and have the lessons still learned and be able to access what I have learned, in the time that I've been undergoing this for the past 4 years, then that'll be fantastic. So yeah, yeah, and if you want to like send me a message on the channel, then about like if you're also going through psychotic experiences, I'll try my best to respond. If anyone like I don't know sees this and relates to some of the things I've been experiencing the past 4 years, then fantastic. I'll try and get back in touch with you. Yeah, so God bless and have a pleasant year. So see you soon.